Hello students, this is Miss Dalton and this is video 8.1 for AQR and it's on types of statistical data. So for the next few units we're going to be moving into statistics, and this first unit is just about how to recognize the vocabulary words that go along with statistics, how to create a study and design a study and the different pieces for it. This first section is on just statistical data, and so there's going to be a few definitions that you're going to write down for this video. These definitions can be found on page 117 of your textbook, but I've also put them in the video as well. The first definition that you need to write down is just statistics. Statistics is the science of collecting, organizing, and interpreting data by describing a situation or drawing conclusions regarding claims. The data represents the numbers that are in the specific context that you're looking at. Individuals, that may be people, animals, or things, and these are generally the people, animals, or things that you're doing the statistical study on. A few more pieces of definitions. A variable. A variable is an attribute or property of the individual that can be assigned a value expressed as numbers or by groupings. Now we have two types of variables. We have quantitative variables and we have categorical variables. Something that you will need to write down specifically for quantitative, these are going to be numerical, okay? So they will have a number associated with them. Okay, then under quantitative variable, we have two types of quantitative. We have, sorry, let me get the pen back on that. Let me erase that. We have continuous, quantitative variable, and then we have discrete, okay? Continuous is any value in a given interval of real numbers, okay? Now these are they're going to have you'll be able to have decimals of it. So continuous means like the length of your foot, okay, because that can be multiple different decimals. Discrete is where you take only particular values and no other values in between. So you take particular values and no other values in between. So an example of that would be like number of people, because we can't count part of a person. So that would be a discrete quantitative variable because we can only have one person, two persons, three persons, so on, but you can't have 2.5 or 2.4. So continuous means it's everything in between the integers. Discrete is it's only certain values and not in between. Okay, categorical are named or coded values. Categories, these are anything that's not a number. So colors, country, food, that represents a categorical variable. Under categorical variable, we also have what's called an ordinal variable. An ordinal variable is that the data can be ranked, but ranks are not evenly spaced. So marathon times would be considered ordinal variable. Distribution, the definition for distribution is that you view data as a whole rather than individual values. Okay, so one of the pieces of this unit is you are going to have to identify whether or not a variable is categorical or quantitative. So remember, quantitative represents a number. Categorical, just think of that as representing a category. So look at these variables that I have listed here. So I have age, I have weekly wage, I have social security number, breed of a dog, gender, race, plane fares, type of car, and systolic blood pressure. So I want you to take a minute and I want you to pause the video and I want you to list those under the correct category. So is it a categorical variable or is it quantitative? And I want you to make a list of that, and then when you're ready to check your answers, go ahead and press play. So pause the video now. Okay, check your answers. Make sure that you got them correct. Categorical is a social security number. Now I know a lot of people think that that's quantitative because it is a number, but the problem is that it's not like a measurement. It actually does represent a category. Breed of dog is categorical, type of car, gender, and race. Quantitative is systolic blood pressure, and again, think about numbers that you can measure. Age, weekly wage, plane fares, those are all quantitative. Okay, the next classifications, I want you to classify the quantitative data as either discrete or continuous. And so here are the variables that you're going to list. So is weight, is that discrete or continuous? Shoe size, the number of children in a family, distance to school, foot length, and the number of students in the class. So list those as either discrete or continuous, pause the video, and then check your answers once you're ready. So go ahead and pause the video now. All right, check your answers. Remember that discrete represents a certain value and nothing in between. So the children per family, we can only have 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't have 2.5 children. The number of students in a class, again, those are just integers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on up. Shoe size, even though you can have like a size 9 and a size 9.5, we don't have like 9.1, 9.2. So that's still considered discrete, even though we are having to put like 9.5 or 9.5 as a value. Continuous is weight. Again, you can have all different decimals of weight. The distance traveled to school can be in decimals, and then foot length, that's in decimals too. Okay, let's look at this example. So we have this table up here of different automobile ratings in 2012. So we have a Chevy Impala, Chevy Malibu with a 4-cylinder, Chevy Malibu with a V6, Ford Fiesta hatchback, Ford Fiesta sedan, and a Ford Focus. Then we have the different types of transmission, horsepower, engine, miles per gallon in the city, and then their rating. So here's some questions that we're going to answer. We're going to use the data in table 14.1 to answer the following questions. What are the individuals or cases in this data set? So what are the different things in this set of data that we're rating? And then part B, for each individual, what variables are given and which of these variables are categorical and which are quantitative. So to answer part A, the individuals are just the make and model of cars. So these are all the individuals of this rating. For each individual, what variables are given? Well, each of these columns represent a different type of variable. Which of them are categorical and which are quantitative? So if you look at that, quantitative are horsepower, miles per gallon, and acceleration time. Those are all quantitative. Again, those represent numbers, and quantitative is numbers. Categorical is the transmission and the engine. So hopefully that makes sense to you. If not, go back and read through the definitions for those words. Okay, in this last example, it says, give an example of a number that is a categorical variable. And we had an example of that earlier. A number would be like a social security number because that is a category. It's not a measure. And then you're preparing to study the television viewing habits of the students in your class. Describe 2 categorical variables and 2 quantitative variables that you might measure for each student. This can vary, your answer to this could vary, but I want you to take a minute and I want you to just write down some 2 categorical variables for this study and then also 2 quantitative. And make sure that you write that down in your notes. All right, that's it for this video. Again, we're just trying to get introduced to the different types of statistical data that we have. Come to class ready to work.